About a month ago, I did a budget video on upgrading the Maestro's Massacre deck. For only $50 on top of the price of the deck, you could change the precon into a strong, fun Spellslinger deck. I also mentioned in that video how I wanted to create a proper Anhelo Aristocrats Spellslinger deck, attempting to combine my two favorite archetypes into a single deck. Well, the time has come for that video. Anhelo the Painter is a 3-mana, 1/3 legendary vampire with Death Touch. He also says that the first instant or sorcery spell we cast each turn has Casualty 2. Casualty is a new keyword ability from Streets of New Capenna, always tied with a number. When we cast an instant or sorcery with Casualty, we can copy it if we sacrifice a creature with at least the power of the specified number. In the case of Anhelo, that number is 2. Additionally, we can only sacrifice one creature, not a bunch of them. It must be noted that Casualty is decided when we cast the spell. So unfortunately, if we have a creature like Talran Sky Summoner in play, we can't cast a spell, make a Drake, and then sack that Drake to copy our spell. But we do still want creatures like that so we can use Drakes from previous spells to copy future spells. Because this deck is built around two of my favorite archetypes, we won't be limiting ourselves on a budget. I plan to build this deck in paper. Fortunately, I have most of the cards already in my Kess deck, so it shouldn't be too expensive for me to build. If you're wanting to build it though, it'll cost almost $1,000. My apologies to your wallet. Before we get into our deck list, let's keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, but this deck will probably go higher. 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, 1 sudden I win card. Now this deck is trying to accomplish 2 things, casting spells and sacrificing creatures. An Aristocrats deck has 3 moving parts: fodder to sacrifice, sacrifice payoffs, and sacrifice outlets. Fortunately, our sacrifice outlet is in our command zone, so barring some serious shenanigans from our opponents, we should always have access to our sack outlet. Our Aristocrat payoffs include the Meathook Massacre, Zulaport Cutthroat, Blood Artist, Vindictive Vampire, Bastion of Remembrance, Black Market, and Pitiless Plunderer. Our fodder generators include Talran Sky Summoner, Jadar Ghoulcaller of Nephalia, Curse of the Restless Dead, Newsgraph Mob, Metallurgic Summonings, Shark Typhoon, and Sedgemoor Witch. I know that Sedgemoor Witch doesn't pair well with our commander, but she's in there for a reason. Trust me, we'll get to it. The other half of the core of our deck is the Spellslinger package. And the top of any Spellslinger list is the dreaded Thousand Year Storm. This card is a Spellslinger's best friend. Additionally, I wanted to try the new Arcane Bombardment in this deck, and in playtesting, I haven't been disappointed. We also have an Expansion Explosion as a copy effect or a possible win con, along with Increasing Vengeance and Reverberate as additional copy effects. Of course, we're running the Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal combo as well. For those who don't know, when you cast Isochron Scepter, you imprint an instant with mana value 2 or less on it. You then pay 2 generic mana and tap Isochron Scepter, which casts a copy of the imprinted spell. In this case, Dramatic Reversal. This then untaps Isochron Scepter, along with any mana rocks you've got in play. Repeat ad nauseum for infinite mana and infinite spells. Why do we want to copy so many times? 2 of our win cons are Ral Storm Conduit and Professor Onyx. With either of these on board, if we copy a single spell twice, we go infinite and win the game. Let me explain. We cast any instant or sorcery, or our opponents do. We then target that instant with a copy spell, like the expansion half of Expansion Explosion. While that spell is on the stack, we then copy the copy with another copy spell, like Reverberate. This creates a copy of Expansion, which then copies Reverberate, which then copies Expansion, which then copies Reverberate, etc. This creates an infinite loop that goes on until we want it to stop. And since Ral Storm Conduit and Professor Onyx both have static abilities that either damage or drain our opponents every time we cast or copy an instant or sorcery, that means we win the game. Wrapping up our Spellslinger package, we have a Dual Caster Mage as another copy effect, and Quasi-Duplicate as a fun way to copy our non-legendary creatures, and goes infinite with Dualcaster Mage under the right circumstances. Basically, you need to cast Quasi-Duplicate first, then, while it's on the stack, cast Dualcaster Mage. Dualcaster Mage resolves, and its Enter the Battlefield trigger targets the Quasi-Duplicate still on the stack. The new copy of Quasi-Duplicate targets and copies Dualcaster Mage. This resolves, leaving the original Quasi-Duplicate on the stack, as well as a new copy of Dualcaster Mage. Repeat ad infinitum. Of course, this would be a non-deterministic loop, but we still have the other creature on board that the original Quasi-Duplicate was targeting. So once we make enough tokens to scare everyone, we can simply stop the loop by choosing to copy the original creature twice. Finally, we're running a copy of everyone's favorite win con, Torment of Hailfire. If all we have on board is a single zombie token and Anhelo the Painter, just copying it once can end the game. Even if you cast a Torment of Hailfire where X is 4 and copy it one time, it means your opponents are now very far behind you on permanents, cards in hand, and possibly life totals. You may not win the game doing this, but you'll be so far ahead that the game is basically over. Moving on to interaction, our spot removal consists of Feed the Swarm, Abrade, Bedevil, Chaos Warp, Volcanic Offering, a very fun spell to copy, Narset Parter of Veils for stacks, Vile Rebirth for targeted graveyard hate and token generation, Narset's Reversal for obvious reasons, Negate, and Commit Memory as a flexible removal spell and our second piece of graveyard hate. Our board wipes consist of the already mentioned Meathook Massacre and Cyclonic Rift. For card advantage, we've got Frantic Search, Windfall, and Siphon Mind as traditional card draw. Skull Clamp is an Aristocrat deck's best friend and fully justifies Sedgemoor Witch's inclusion. And Archmage Emeritus, who will probably be the primary target of our Quasi-Duplicate shenanigans. Kess Dissident Mage and Snapcaster Mage are there so we can recast any of our spells, and the full suite of Mystical Tutor, Demonic Tutor, and Vampiric Tutor are there to find our combo pieces. Additionally, the 3 previously mentioned Planeswalkers all offer card advantage of a sort. For mana ramp, we've got the already mentioned Pitiless Plunderer and Black Market, but we're also running Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Dimir Signet, Rakdos Signet, Izzet Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence, and Talisman of Creativity as our mana rock package. Rowan Scholar of Sparks for mana reduction, Stormkiln Artist for obvious reasons, Ashnod's Altar as the only other sack out in the deck, but a very good one at that. Jeska's Will is either card advantage or a ritual, or both if our commander's on board. Brass's Bounty is great in this deck and even better if we copy it. And Seize the Spotlight and Spiteful Repossession are fun and powerful inclusions from the new Commander precons. For lands, we've got Command Tower, Crumbling Necropolis, Reliquary Tower, Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, Cabal Coffers, Bojuka Bog as our third piece of graveyard hate, and the old reliable Field of the Dead for more token generation. We're also running Polluted Delta, Bloodstained Mire, Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strand, Arid Mesa, and Verdant Catacombs as fetches, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, Fetid Pools, Canyon Slough, Volatile Fjord, and Xander's Lounge as targets for those fetches beyond basics. Morphic Pool, Luxury Suite, Training Center, Shipwreck Marsh, Haunted Ridge, Storm-Carved Coast, 5 islands, 3 swamps, and 3 mountains. So let's compare our deck to our checklist and see how we did. 54 mana sources, a little heavy, but 4 of those are rituals or ritual adjacent, so it's fine. 12 pieces of card advantage, counting our tutors and planeswalkers. 10 pieces of spot removal. 2 board wipes. 3 pieces of graveyard hate. No standalone sudden I win cards, but numerous combos that can win the game out of nowhere. All told, I'm pretty happy with this deck. My initial draft of the deck was over 170 cards, so a lot of cuts were made. I've goldfished with this deck quite a bit, but I haven't built it in paper yet. I'm very happy with how it turned out. The problem is the deck has a lot of moving pieces, so sometimes you just don't draw the right cards. That weakens the deck, which is why I have so many tutors in it. If I went all in Aristocrats rather than trying to combine two separate archetypes, I'm sure the deck would be much more consistent and a lot more powerful. But it wouldn't be as much fun, and at the end of the day, fun is why we play Commander. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. I'm doing a push and trying to post new videos every weekday for the next few months, so look forward to lots of new videos in the near future. Or you can click here for more Commander content. I've also started a Patreon. You can click the link below or go to patreon.com/Danon. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.